Well, hello, darlings. Hello. Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here. And we are going to, first off, happy holidays to all of you. Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa. I thought I would do a tarot card reading for the year based on a lot of your questions. You folks had a ton of questions for me, and I want to make sure I get to all of them. I don't know if I will be able to get to all of them because y'all had a lot of good questions. You can see them all here. Look at all that. But I will try to get to them. Excuse me. Excuse me. As fast as I can. If you can like, share, and subscribe to the stream as we slowly make our way towards 100,000 subscribers. And congratulations to our very own Linda G, who has just made 100K. Congratulations, girl. Awesome. All right, so let's go ahead. We'll do the empath prayer, and then we will go ahead and we'll answer your questions for 24, 25. Let's do it. Let's bring in the new year with some beautiful energy. Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively we say Amen. And to those of you seeking healing at this time, we pray that you receive perfect healings in both body, mind, and spirit. And together collectively, again, we say Amen. All right, so your first question coming to us has to do with, excuse me, election interference. This question is coming from Trisha Dexter, 4834. She wants to know, will any evidence come out about election interference during when Donald Trump won the election? Will we be able to prove that it was fake? Election interference. We'll do only 4 cards. That's a blitz. The elections. Confusion. There's great confusion over what happened. So that tells me at this time the American government is not sure entirely about what happened. Maybe they feel that they don't have enough proof, but they know something was wonky, because 7 of Cups is about being in the clouds, being confused, being spaced out, not knowing what to pick. So maybe the American people felt confused. Maybe they, misinformation, X, Twitter, Facebook. There was a lot of money that was poured into disinformation. People that actually think Nancy Pelosi organized the January 6th insurrection, for example. We've had comments like that on our post that Trump was innocent, but it was really Nancy Pelosi. What's scary is that the people that handled the insurrection are going to be able to write the history books that are taught to our children in public school, and that's scary. But you have this energy of confusion around the election. And then the opposition, 6 of Pentacles, which is to assist or to have justice in some way. So it would imply that there is some the opposition to this confusion is a desire for justice, which again could, if the Russians were not involved, would Trump have won the election? That's the bottom line. Did the Russian campaign get Trump elected? They had a real fear of Kamala Harris. People voted for Trump because of a fear of Kamala Harris. Maybe they thought that she was a leftist communist. This is what they were told in the media, this strong, fiery woman that they were afraid of. So they believed that she was untested. They believed that her father was a communist. They believed she had communist leanings. They believed that Biden was a disaster economically and that she would be a continuation of that. And then the final outcome is death and transformation. The clarification, it's over. The opposition to the election, heavy load lays ahead. The hopes and fears, mastery. And then the final outcome, victory for the people. So basically what happened was that the media campaign, they didn't have to rely on the Russians because the Russians taught the Republicans how to do it. It was basically a smear campaign where people became frightened of Kamala Harris. And so many people voted for her because they didn't know who she was. She was a woman of color. She was left of center. And so they had these so they were able to convince people that she was basically a scary black person. That's basically how fear of this powerful woman is, and confusion and fear of the powerful woman. However, I would go ahead and predict that over the next couple of years, the Democratic Party is going to soar because we have death and transformation over the situation and an ace of swords, which leads me to suspect that this situation is going to evolve for the better. And I predict that the Democrats will do very well, both in the midterms in a couple of years, but further down the road, because you have this transformation and this victory for the people. All right, people have asked about Luigi Mangion. They've wanted to know if Luigi Mangion is going to be released from prison. My feeling is that there is a very good likelihood that he will be pardoned by Donald Trump. It is possible we could see Luigi Mangion completely pardoned, exonerated by Donald Trump. Now, why would Donald Trump do that? Well, there's a couple of reasons why he would do it. For starters, it makes him look good and he knows how to be popular with the people. It's also the kind of radical, shocking thing that a normal politician wouldn't be able to get away with. So if anyone's going to get away with it, it's Donald Trump. And it will win him huge applause from the populist vote, while simultaneously he can do deals with Big Pharma. While he can simultaneously do business with insurance companies. He is someone who truly knows, he's been working the media for a long time and he knows how to be popular. So this is why it's very likely we could see Trump letting Luigi Mangion go, getting that pardon. Let's see if Luigi is going to be pardoned by Trump. I think he is. And I think it would be a good populist decision. Scholarship. Growth. He could be, pardon him before he's convicted. Hopes and fears, the Six of Cups. And then the final outcome, the truth comes out. It could be that Trump, in order to have it be less political, Trump can pardon him before there's an actual sentence. So if you pardon him and he was not found guilty of murder because he hadn't been convicted yet, then it's less controversial than if he's charged and convicted with first-degree murder. Yes, this is Trump. This is Trump. Yes, I believe that Luigi will receive a pardon from Donald Trump because Donald Trump wants to be popular with the people, and it would be popular with the people, and he could do it as early as before there's a conviction. So that's surprising. This is a man that knows how to work the system. All right, let's look at the inauguration day of Donald Trump. How does the inauguration go? He's worried that he's not going to get a large crowd. That could hurt his feelings. We don't want his feelings hurt. All right, how will the ceremony go? The swearing in of Donald J. Trump. Let's take a look. A new beginning for the country, 4 of Wands. The opposition to Trump, which would be us, new partnerships and alliances. So Democrats are looking to new partnerships and alliances. Great grief, fear of grief. And the final outcome for the inauguration day, 9 of Swords, horror. People are horrified. People are horrified that it's happening. Oh my God, it's happening. We can't stop it. Oh my God. It's that kind of a feeling because you have that 9 of Swords coming in. The nightmare, right? 9 of Swords is a card that has to do with nightmares. So for the Democrats, it may be a feeling of, oh my God, it's happening again. Oh my God, the demon is back. He's not dead. We thought we killed him when Biden, it was over when Biden, no, he's back. It's like a night gallery movie where the worm goes through the guy's brain and he thinks the nightmare's over, and then he finds out that the worm has had babies and the nightmare's going to happen all over again with the worm eating his brain. Kind of like, I guess, Kennedy had a worm eat his brain. I don't know. So we have that kind of feeling here with the 9 of Swords, which is stressed out. There's justice over the situation. And mastery over the Democrats. See, we're always A students, but we're terrible at winning campaigns. What's that about? Hopes and fears, the King of Swords, of course, which is the Gemini male, which, of course, we all know who that is. Final outcome for us is a new beginning, and we will be victorious. Message from Spirit, do not fear the inauguration of Donald Trump. Do not fear the inauguration of Donald Trump. Everything is working itself out as it should. You have underestimated the intelligence and power of the people. Like, the people will survive this. Let me go ahead now and look at the future of Donald Trump. That was another question you all had. You wanted to know, how would his first year in office, he's back in the saddle again, back in the saddle again. Let's take a look. Donald Trump's first year in office. We're going to go ahead and do a Celtic for this one. We're going to use 12 cards. We'll do 2 bases. The bottom card is the summary of the reading, and the card underneath that is the karma that the individual must go through in order to complete the challenge of the Celtic cross. Always use 12, never use 10. Then you get a better reading. All right, Donald Trump's first year in office. This is what we're looking at, Spirit. Thank you. All right, the base of the matter for him is hanging it up. It is likely that Donald Trump will not complete his first year in the White House. His base card is to hang up the White House, and there is some truth coming out that could potentially force him to leave the White House. This is surprising. It's not something I expected, but we do have him hanging up the first year and some truth coming up. Could be that he's turning 80 and maybe he just feels that he doesn't want to complete the entire year. His first house is he feels empowered, magician. He is thinking in terms of revenge. That is something that's come up a lot. He's going after the people that hurt him. The first people he's going to be going after is the judges, the Judge Chitkin, the judge that humiliated him in court and threatened him. He sat there and plotted, I am going to kill this judge. I am going to do things to this judge. That is the first, that sitting there while the cops were threatening to lock him up. That judge, he was sitting there planning what I'm going to do when I'm back in office to you. So this is a man who is enjoying his power, and he's plotting and planning revenge for those people who did this to him, that subjected him to all those court cases. I'm going to go after Georgia. I'm going to go after the one in the state in Florida, D.C., New York. I've got the power. What's over him? He may not be able to get the revenge he wants because he's not able to get off the ground his first year. He has the crossing card of the moon, and the moon is complete confusion, barking at the moon, and lunacy. He's got all this power, but his mind could be not what it once was. Could we be looking at some kind of article, what is it called, 25 or 14? Something could be coming in where they literally disqualify him. What is above? The high priestess. Ooh, he does not want that. High priestess is academia. It's intellectual. It is the law. It could be a female judge, for example. Torah is to bear the light. Ta'or, it is the law. The 613 mitzvot, right? The commandments. So she is the keeper of the law, the Torah. It's also the symbol for the state of Israel, the high priestess. I use that as the state of Israel. So he has what is above him. He's got, maybe he was spiritually called to help with what was going on in the Middle East, but it's not going to last. His spirituality is interesting. What he sits in is the Hierophant. Hierophant is one's higher ethos. Looking towards one's higher ethos, how they, whether or not they are dogmatic or spiritual, but there's some connection between his spirituality, his ethos, and this law or the way things are done with the high priestess. He must be accused of theft. Perhaps he was accused of being a thief of this election, but he is a thief attempting to hang up and escape the judgment, perhaps, of the Constitution, lawyers, etc. Judge Chutkin, but he has this kind of energy of trying to flee some higher ethos, ethics and law, which he attempts to hang up and flee. He attempts to get away from. And then Six of Cups. Could be that he's given some kind of deal or offer that is quite sweet, Six of Cups, in his future. So maybe he's given the opportunity to resign and not be prosecuted anymore in the future. Where he's at right now. Again, Queen of Swords would indicate justice, that justice is coming for him. And here it is again, an offer. An offer is being given to him, an offer to resign perhaps. Hopes and fears, the star is fading for him. He fears that he will be forgotten in history, that nobody will remember him, that he will no longer be a star. A judgment lay upon him. He was an instrument that Spirit used in order to accomplish certain things, but he, the man, is facing serious judgment in his future. Could see a lot of law cards. For example, the high priestess. Ethics is what he marinates and sits in. The Queen of Swords, who cuts the truth with a knife. That Ace of Cups moving in with his opposition would lead me to think that someone is giving him an offer to potentially come out of this. He has some global influence. They're fighting against him globally. This could be the Ukraine situation, and hopes and fears that he's going to be devastated. There it is again, Knight of Cups, a peace offering to him. He wants to be the one to negotiate the pullout of Russia from Ukraine. Knight of Cups can be an emissary of peace. It's the diplomat's card. They come bearing the chalice, and they often enter into peace negotiations. Knight of Cups is romantic. So we could be seeing that Trump is setting things up so that when the Russians pull out, he can get credit for it. And that's what it's looking like. All right, the next question has to do with Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. They Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. As you know, they are not leaving DC for Christmas. Now, many people think it has something to do with the drones. I think the drones have to do with tensions with China. As I've mentioned, China's drone system is 10 years ahead of the United States. They could be trying to intimidate us and play strange games with these drones. Some of the things that both US drones and Chinese drones can do is that they can both create holograms. And these holograms are created when they shine a light. Two lights are coming from two different directions. When you shine those lights upward, you can create a hologram. And so what we're starting to see is some of these military drones experimenting with making holograms. And now people are freaking out because they see the holograms. I had some interesting film footage of a hologram that I thought was really pretty cool. I think it was called, I think Chaos Moogly had a picture so that you can actually see what some of these I'll go ahead and show you what a hologram looks like so that you guys can see the science of a hologram. Okay, here is what I believe are two US military drones. They're underneath the hologram, and what they're doing is they're both shining the light upward, and when the lights come together like this and cross, they have the ability to create what looks like a three-dimensional design. That's how holograms are created. And so it's really cool when the military can create a hologram from shining lights in two opposite directions, and it looks kind of like this. And so what you're seeing, let me go back and do it again here. You can see the drones. You've got two military drones, and they're shining the light upwards, and it's at about a 90-degree angle that you're able to produce these types of holograms.
We've seen this happen before. Someone on Reddit or on Twitter or just pop out of nowhere with the exact make and model you can buy on Amazon, and no one's done that yet. And that's a very strange shape. It looked like the shape they have, the two snakes on the staff for the hospital. That's what that looked like. What? Why would that even be on a kite?
It's fun, right? So they experiment with producing these different images, and you can actually see the drones underneath creating the hologram. So the purpose that the military Chinese are of creating these holograms, which by the way can travel at the speed of light, right? Because it's not an object, it's a light, and light can travel faster than an object. So what they're doing, what the military is doing with these holograms is they are creating decoys and fake ships that can travel, they look like they're traveling at 10,000 miles an hour, but what they really are is two drones manipulating a 3D image of something that isn't really there. And so what happens is that the US military scrambles to chase after these, and then they dematerialize because they are three-dimensional holograms being produced by military drones, just as we are learning to do it. So we have to also be aware that are we seeing what we think we are seeing, or are we simply seeing a hologram? Because this is the new military, right? This is the new way of warfare. So we're going to go ahead and try and get some information now about the drones. And if we're going to find out more, I think that the reason that Harris and Biden are staying is because Taiwan has been surrounded by the Chinese. I think their drones are playing cat and mouse games with the US drones and Air Force, etc. And I think that it's a dangerous situation. And we could be looking at possibly a military altercation with China. Okay, why did this question coming in from the Ozif 7835. Okay, why did they take off or stay for the holiday? Okay, magician, to take care of. They are in the middle. What I'm picking up energetically is that they are in the middle of intense conversations with China to try and divert a military altercation. That China and the United States are in the war room trying to talk down a potentially aggressive acts by China, and that is why they're not leaving. The opposition, Two of Swords. China is fed up. They're done. They're done with our trade policies. They're tired of our behavior. Two of Swords. They don't want to hear it. We have the power. We're going to stay. We're going to negotiate. We're going to get into private meetings during the holidays so that this doesn't escalate into a military action. But you get the impression with this type of card that she wants nothing to do with it, that she is... look at that, Six of Cups. We're trying to play nice. It's the Chinese. And the final outcome, mastery. The Emperor, the Hierophant comes to solve the problem. It could be trying to hammer out those trade deals so that they're fair intellectually, a way that the Chinese are going to be happy without it escalating into a potentially violent situation. Here's a thief attempting to flee. And then the opposition, Ten of Cups. So this could indicate that China is going to go for it and attempt to take Taiwan. Strength. We have got to be able to work with China. I think that it's a very tense situation now because of China's desire to take Taiwan. And I don't know how long we can avoid seeing a conflict with Taiwan. I don't see a conflict at this time because we see clearer heads prevail, but it's a very tense situation because of this thief energy coming in, which is a desire probably to take Taiwan. All right, so the next question had to do with the drones and whether or not they are coming from a foreign adversary or if it has anything to do with possibly aliens. We've seen drones over military sites. I believe they're U.S. military drones. Yes, they're seen all over the Western world because NATO has military drones. Lockheed Martin makes them, so I think other companies do as well. We have a lot of companies out of Silicon, California, for example, that are developing all kinds of cool things. Flying cars. Now people are flying around in cars, which is kind of neat. New Jersey and New Hampshire both have opened up their to the FAA, allowing them to fly manned vehicles. So we could be seeing all kinds of things. In addition to military drones, we're also seeing FAA-approved flying cars. And yeah, so it's really interesting. Joby is one of them, but we have several independent companies that are invested in producing drones, both for the U.S. military, but also for private use. All right, are aliens behind any of these drones? Is there an alien that's part of it? Or is that just a cover so that the Americans won't figure out the technology we're using, like creating holograms? It's spooky if you don't have the science explained, right? You can just, do they benefit from you thinking it's aliens? Do they deliberately put out fake stories so that you won't begin to examine and break down just the advanced technology of the drones, etc.? Are we looking at Star Wars right now between China and the United States? All right, aliens. A higher ethos, the Hierophant. So what are we looking at? Are we looking at aliens, or are we looking at species that have always lived on Earth that have simply used cloaking as a way of protecting themselves? Maybe the reason that they look like hominids is because they are hominids. You know, I've always said maybe the other branches of hominids did not go extinct. Maybe instead of going extinct, they simply went into the caves, disappeared, and developed incredibly advanced technology, cloaking. And we think that they're aliens, but in fact they originated here and they're simply another branch of hominids. Wouldn't that be cool? The opposition is scholarly. So we have spirit and scholarly, looking at those stars, looking to find answers, and the hopes and the fears, a partnership. And then the final outcome, are there aliens? Two of Swords, a refusal to look. I'm thinking that the cards are saying, yeah, there are other beings out there. Are they aliens? Are they life forms that originated here on Earth? Why do we assume they came from somewhere else? That's what I'm always. They're bipedal and they have two eyes, nose, etc. That would tell me that they probably came from here, right? But there's all kinds of life that we haven't discovered yet just because the cloaking is so advanced. Ooh, we've got disclosure potentially coming out. Look at that, Ace of Cups. Hopes and fears, Knight of Wands. War and violence, and the final outcome, Three of Wands, looking beyond. I would say yes, there's a possibility that we are looking at some kind of intelligence, non-human intelligence, that there's some validity to that. Whether or not they originate from Earth or whether or not they come from some other place, that did hominids achieve tremendous scientific achievements by avoiding war, by going into cloaking, by concentrating instead on advanced technologies rather than war? Would you cloak yourself if you were an advanced society dealing with the violence of humans? Maybe yes, maybe no. If they can no longer hide because our technology, we've caught up with them, is this now the time of disclosure? Possibly Three of Wands is to get our wish. It's to look to the great beyond. So I would say yes. Yes, there's a possibility we will see disclosure in the coming days. All right, let's do a couple more quick ones. Okay, people want to know about the economy for 24-25. Let's go ahead and see what our finances are going to be for 24 and 25. Are we going to be seeing a strong economy? Six of Cups. People are going to be offered their jobs back. Opposition, theft. The hopes and fears, new growth. And the final outcome, King of Wands, entrepreneurship, new business. No, we're not going, no, we're not seeing unemployment, quite the opposite. I think that the country is so strong after Biden that we could be seeing, King of Wands is aggressive, it's an entrepreneur. We could be seeing the growth of new businesses. Six of Cups is offers. Our opposition is theft, maybe because people are not paying their taxes. Joe Biden took really good care of us. He was a good daddy. Angry opposition. Angry people trying to steal, right? Hopes and fears, the world. And then the final outcome for our economy, we are trapped a little bit. Eight of Swords with red tape. This tells me that there's a legitimate, both Democrats and Republicans have talked about this issue. I just don't think that Elon Musk is the person to take care of it. And that has to do with too much red tape and the fact that we want to simplify everything, simplify the taxes, so that the laws are not, there's too much unnecessary regulation, which is agreed upon by both Democrats and Republicans. And we could be seeing, trying to untwist some of the crazy laws. And this appears to be something that both Democrats and Republicans can work on so that we can start seeing more building of homes, etc., particularly in California, where restrictions have prevented progress. All right, so there you have it. Those are some of the predictions for 24-25. I hope you enjoyed them. I'll try and do a part 2, hopefully in a day or two. If you're trying to get in for a reading with me, I'll be back at work on the 27th. Yes, on the 27th. Actually, I could probably come back on the 26th since I'm staying home. You know what? I might be available on the 26th. now that I'm thinking about it. All right. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out. And we'll see you next time. And thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.